In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome to this edition of the Evening Review. My name is Tewan Jabela. Let's quickly look at today's front page of Namibian Sun. Tonight in the studio, I'm joined by my colleague Okhonet Lache, who is going to basically help me sum up the events of the week. Young man, welcome to the show.
Good evening.
Yeah, so today you were at court.
Yes.
In the High Court, where you witnessed the hearing of the bail application of, in fact, tell us what was happening in court.
Ricardo Gustavo, who stands accused in the fish rod saga involving several high-profile people implicated in a bribery scandal, basically has made an application appealing his the bail conditions, because you remember initially he applied for bail through the Windhoek Magistrates Court, and that was rejected, and now he's approached the High Court to sort of make a second appeal at his freedom.
So what was what is he saying? How was this appeal today different from the one in the magistrates court?
Essentially, he says that it's in the public interest for him to be released on bail, because what his reasoning is that when he is released on bail, that he'll be able to provide for his family. Now, the Windhoek Magistrates Court obviously did not agree to that, and with this bail application, he's now offered a higher bail of 100,000. He's also offered to visit the offices of the Anti-Corruption Commission twice daily between 8 to 10 o'clock in the morning, and then from 5 to 7 o'clock in the evening. He's also put up an immovable one of two of his immovable properties as surety to the state. And if the state is not satisfied with that, he'll put all of his both immovable properties as surety for the state as part of his bail application. Obviously, he's also said that he will hand in his passport, and he will not apply for any new travel documents while this case is still ongoing. And remember, it must still appear in the High Court, where he will stand trial.
And the state, how did they get a chance to the prosecutors to give their views on the application? Well,
the state has essentially stuck to the first conditions, where they're saying that he's a flight risk. The state also reasoned that while Gustavo was saying that it's in the public interest for him to be released so that he can take care of his family, in his first admission he admitted to not having any work and so forth. So the state was also asking, if he is in this position where he's not actively employed, how is he going to earn an income to take care of his family? Plus, of course, the fact is, what other thing that the state admitted is that the prima facie evidence before the court is there. The state argues. The state was also saying that it's a very complex matter. It involves an organized syndicate, so it would not be in the public interest for Gustavo to be released on bail at this point in time.
What is he accused of having done in this fish rod thing?
Essentially conspiring to benefit or to using his office obviously now in conjunction with the other two individuals, two ministers, former Minister Sakio Shangala and former Fisheries Minister Bernard Esau. There was a sort of a plan to benefit or to benefit from state resources, as also the contravening the Prevention of Organized Crime Act, and also money laundering charges that they are facing. Him specifically being accused of these 3 main counts. Yeah,
because I think he was listed as the sole director of Namkomar Pesca.
Yes,
the vehicle that was sort of created to give life to the agreement between Namibia and Angola around fishing. And the arguments that came out a couple of weeks ago was to say that I think during the bail application of Bernard Esau a week ago, the ACC investigators, when they were giving their testimony in court, they were actually saying that because it's so hard to break into the fishing quota industry, these individuals saw this agreement with Angola as an opportunity basically to have their foot into that industry. So Gustavo was then listed as the sole director of that company. A lot of things are complicated, of course, but we'll hear just the last question on that one, Okhone.
Yes.
When is the verdict of that application coming out?
The judge, High Court, the Windhoek High Court Judge Kobus Miller asked for time to obviously come up with his judgment, and the judgment will be given on 28 July.
28 July.
Yes.
What precedence would this thing give? What precedence would any ruling in this case give to others? Because obviously we know Mike Ngipunya came to the magistrate court. He was denied bail. Nigel van Wyk, the young man, was denied bail. And of course, Gustavo himself was denied bail, like you said earlier. So it means then that if he was to get bail in the High Court, this will inspire his co-accused to follow the same route.
Yes, I would believe so.
And if bail is denied, the likelihood of that also replicating itself with others is very high.
Yes, I would believe so, because once Gustavo is given bail, I believe it would open the floodgates for others to also find this or see this as an opportunity for them to apply for bail in this matter. Even though there have been attempts in the past, and mind you, the bail judgment, I believe, of the former Minister Esau and his son-in-law Tamson Atikulipi must still be delivered. So it's an interesting mix of developments.
So what do you think, your own view really, as a journalist following events, why do you think Saki Shangala and James Atikulipi haven't applied for leave for bail up to now?
I guess, you know, there are insinuations being made that these are the 2 perceived masterminds, and should they apply for bail, it could possibly be that, you know, it's going to set the tone of what we should expect when this matter finally goes to court. And I think they're playing their cards very close to their chest in how they're approaching and just observing. I mean, obviously, Sakeo Shangala, being a former government attorney, is analyzing these things and is probably making calculated moves in the background as all of these other matters play out in the court.
Now, another story that I want to engage you on, Okhone, I think is in the papers today, based on the statement made by President Hage Geingob yesterday, when he was addressing Swapo MPs at an induction workshop at the National Assembly, where the president basically lashed out at Swapo MPs, calling them essentially that they are weak, that they have allowed the opposition as deeply in the minority as the opposition is, to have actually taken an upper hand in terms of the deliberations in the National Assembly. What did you make of that? The reaction today was very big, the public reaction to that.
One would expect, I wouldn't expect a president of a sitting president to scold his MPs in public. I would have firstly expected, because they're having a congress or a workshop, a 4-day workshop, there's enough time to unpack these issues and to sort of come back and come back with resolute and more stronger. I think the president doing that was probably, is not probably going to be in the interest of the party itself, especially on the back of this scandal, the fish rot scandal. I think this is also going to give the opposition more ammunition, because we're looking at this and essentially it seems as if the ruling party cannot stand up or defend itself in parliament. I mean, they've had various opportunities to address all of these things that are coming up. First, we look at issues related to the abortion debate. I think that there could have come strong debate from the members of the ruling party. The second was when the founding president was called a thug. I think it also came back to them just coming back as an organized unit and putting the opposition members in their place, but obviously through proper dialogue and through proper debate. And what is also missing is that the level of debate that is coming from the opposition is really, it's head and shoulders above what you're getting from the ruling party. I haven't seen, and I've observed this probably maybe with the exception of the fisheries minister that has been very resolute and that has spoken very well on the issue of the allocation of fishing quotas, dealing with the corruption in the fishing sector. I think, honestly, and maybe there may be others that I've missed throughout these debates, I think that is the only thing that has really stuck out, having come out strongly from the ruling party.
Yeah, okay, so, but obviously the president, Okone, what do you Namibians want? When the party leaders do not address their members strongly, we say, no, people are just quiet, MPs and Swapo members are just allowed to do what they want. When they are being scolded at, then we say, oh, no, you should have done it differently. What should the president do?
Look, the president's scolding his elected officials, for that matter, in public, I don't think was a good thing to do. The president speaking about a matter, fish rot, that should be sub judice, I don't think was the correct thing to do. But I guess he is also trying, and he's also only human, given all of the pressures. I mean, we're coming out of a COVID-19 pandemic, we're having cash flow shortages. You have this big scandal that could easily rip your party apart. It's a very tough road to juggle.
But I think personally, I think he did actually commend him personally, because and mind you, that was in the prepared script. It was the speech, written speech. It's not where you have a written speech and then you get all the speech and then in the heat of the moment maybe you say things, uncalculated things. This was a calculated move, and I think it's important. The MPs, Swapo must be seen to be doing the correct things with its history, with its stature, with the mandate handed to it, should be seen to be doing things. And the president's observation was spot on, that indeed, like you said, the opposition has basically blown Swapo away in as far as engagements in parliament is concerned. So much that even Peter Kachavi, the good professor, is struggling to contain the house. And we need that level of vibrancy in that house. So the fact that the president did not mention anyone by name to say you and you are wasting our time in parliament, he just made a general remark that in general, Swapo is losing ground in parliament. I think it was a correct thing to do, because I tell you now what you're likely to see, Okone, and we'll be returning to this debate maybe in the newsroom soon with an I told you so sort of conversation.
Yes.
Because I think when parliament, which is in recess now, when it resumes again, we are likely to see more issues being debated, more energy. And that is what you need from a ruling party. They are the ones handed the mandate to lead, the mandate to change people's lives. They cannot afford to be lagging behind the opposition. So my view really is that the president was correct that he put across a clear message that is just not going to be a question of sitting and being called
lame duck,
honorable X and Y and Z. That it's not really about that. It's about tackling issues that affect the daily lives of our people. That is just my take personally. The last conversation that I want to engage you in, Okhone, is around this Al Jazeera investigation into the siege of Windhoek and Huawei briberies being offered. There's a lot of question marks there from where I stand. The first thing is that if the RDP councillor was offered millions of dollars to basically buy her silence because she was the lone voice that was opposed to this rollout of the 5G technology by the siege of Windhoek. And then we saw photos of her and other officials supposedly meeting at some filling station to discuss these things, and I suppose it meant that she was planted in these things. Why didn't they do it like they did with the Anatomy of Bribe, or whatever it's called, that documentary? Because why can't you go there with voice recorders or whatever cameras, secret cameras, to film what was happening there? Because my impression is that she was actually sent there to see if they can solicit information out of these people that will incriminate whoever was making the bribery. But that didn't happen. So that alone, for me, just leaves a lot of doubt. I don't know what your impression is.
I think, as you're alluding to, there should have been, I think, and I do not doubt the investigation into this matter. One would expect there should be a paper trail. Okay, who and who was paid, and this happened, and this person accepted a bribe, and for this reason and for that reason. And this is probably a matter that would, I don't know, probably go to litigation at some stage, to probably get the attention of the investigative authorities and so forth. But just as you put it there, I do not see any reason to want to doubt the city officials at this point. And I'm not saying this one is wrong or that one, the other one is right. What I do, however, want to say about this 5G matter is that, yes, Windhoek has ambitions to become a smart city. Windhoek probably has ambitions to set up bicycle lanes at some point, probably set up plugs for electric vehicles. But the very focus of the city now should be on the proper provision of sanitation and of housing. We've got a hepatitis E problem. We've got a very, very serious housing problem within the city, and those are the factors that should be, or those are the things that should require the immediate attention of the city of Windhoek at this point in time.
Yeah, I agree totally with you, Okhone. I've seen such views, a lot of such views, to say, is Wi-Fi really the priority, or should it really be the priority of the city of Windhoek right now, when you have people that are on the edge of civilization, people without water, without electricity, and like you said, you know, the hepatitis E situation, that is it's a class disease, like I always call it. It's a disease that can only affect people in a particular class. And I think as a country we must be ashamed of ourselves that we have people, and we have, this thing has been going on since 2017, around about there. 3 years later, we are still unable to contain hepatitis E. In fact, it has killed more people in Namibia than COVID-19.
Yes.
Of course, COVID is a new disease, but still. So, I agree with you on that one. But the other way of looking at this is to say, if it's a commercial enterprise, this Wi-Fi thing, which will bring income to the city, and therefore enable the city to be able to roll out other services, that can be the other side of the coin.
That's true.
Because all local authority councils in the country are struggling with funding. That's why they are putting up land for auctions. You and I can go to an auction, but once we meet with who's of Windhoek. We can never win any bid to buy that land. And municipalities would say that, look, we're not very comfortable doing these auctions, but it's one of our key sources of income, because what we are getting from government in terms of subsidies is really something small. So for me, my view on the Wi-Fi thing is to say that if it's going to earn city money and therefore financially enable the city to really now go to the rest of the residents who need their help, well and good. But if in any way that is not viable, then it's a misplaced priority.
I just want to add, maybe the other side of the coin we're also not looking at is that the city of Windhoek can do this on a build, operate and transfer model where a private partner comes in and builds the infrastructure and runs the infrastructure and makes their money back plus a little bit of interest, and then over time gives this back to the city of Windhoek. And the other thing that is also not being considered is that all over the world, Huawei is not being held in good light because of false allegations or unproven allegations that 5G is bad, suspicions on the part of the Chinese government and all of these things. So let's see how this situation plays out. And I guess the most reasonable outcome for the city will be the outcome out of all of these things.
Yeah. The last question to you, Okhane, is also, of course, on this issue of 5G, is there seems to be a lot of underground corporate fights. You have Paratus, you have I think there's a number of companies there that even at the presentation that was held, the hearing that was held this week at CRAN, a lot of corporate fights there, and I suppose government, which is the overall authority, have to watch closely the developments in this regard, because it is really private interest, if you like. There's little consideration for you and me in this whole fight. It's really to say, if these fiber cables are put up or whatever the infrastructure is being talked about, my bottom line as a corporate entity will improve and whatnot. So there's a lot of self-interest in this fight.
Yeah, one is given reason to believe so.
Yeah, indeed. Khane, thank you for coming to the show today.
Thank you
for the wrap-up. Yeah, sure. This is my colleague Khane Tlhache speaking to me about some of the events that took place this week in the news, basically, and I hope the insight that he shared has helped you to understand one or two things better than you did previously. Not good night. Let's quickly look at the weather before we bid you farewell for the weekend. Thank you.